Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back, and what we've got is our Outback Radeon series. This is the 8,000 watt inverter. It does grid tie, grid assist, grid backup, off grid, Gridzero. It does basically everything in a nutshell, and it's pretty cool. This one specifically has two inverters inside of it, one on the right, one on the left. You can't see it because my panel is covered, but what I want to talk about is the Gridzero capability of this. And the Gridzero capability is fantastic. So what is Gridzero anyways? So let's just talk about it. Gridzero is the ability to do something specifically special. Now, this controller is a pretty good one, I guess. Right now we're pulling 0.4 kilowatts through the whole house. That's 400 watts-ish, which is awesome that it shows it 0.5 now. Washing machine's running. By the way, don't get the washing machine that's doesn't have the big agitator because they don't wash clothes good. Who would have thunk it? But who cares? So you can hear this running. I just turned off my Bitcoin miners so I could do a video for you guys. I installed wire from that side that attaches to my sub panel and wired it up. I disconnected the Magnum. The Magnum worked fine for a very long time, but it is weak. I could tell the lights was dimming a lot. Sometimes my computers would shut off whenever the washing machine or the dryer would run, and the voltage would drop down. So I believe there's something wrong with the Magnum. I'm going to send it in, have them fix it, because it's under a 5-year warranty, and the 5 years is not up yet. But this thing works really good. Obviously the Magnum is a 4,400 watt. This is an 8,000 watt inverter, and right now I'm pulling about 300 watts out of this. I do have it in off-grid mode, and if I wanted to switch to the grid assist mode, I could just flip this switch down here, which is not necessary right now because today this is the time of day that I plan on running the rest of the day on just solar power. So this thing had been running my Bitcoin miners. Right now it's at 48.0 volts. The Bitcoin miners had been running, and it's actually an off-grid. So now just one fan is running instead of both, and it's still trying to cool it down. So you probably can tell the difference in the audio quality. It's going to get quieter as that fan cools down too. So grid tie, then Gridzero is a couple different things, and grid tie's great. Okay, I'm not going to bash it. I think it is probably the most efficient way to produce electricity and make the benefit if your grid company sells to you and buys from you the same price, right? But in my local area, it would not be beneficial for me to sell to them because they're going to give me like 5 kilowatts of power, 5 cents per kilowatt, which is 12 cents, 13 cents here. So we're at 12 to 13 cents here, and I'm selling to them for 5 cents, and they put it on 2 different meters. You pay an electric bill and you get paid a check through a different meter, which is unfair. In my opinion, it's totally unfair. So I'm not going to consider doing a grid selling until they decide to fix it to where it's better and more beneficial for the people like me and you. People that want to sell back to them. When it's more beneficial, we'll sell to them. When it's not beneficial, I'll just waste it. I got 16 solar panels that I can install right now that I really don't have the charge controller for. I need 2 charge controllers. Think about getting 2 classic 150s or 1 classic 150 or 2 classic 250s. 2 classic 250s would be better. So in general, we're looking at right now, I want to get 2 classics installed. I'd like to have the Outback Extreme charge controller, the 80s, which those will probably be more compatible with. The classics are going to work fine. It's just I won't be able to monitor them with this machine here. So not that big a deal. To me, some people, oh, I really have to monitor it. I mean, I'd understand that. I totally do. I totally understand it. But the Gridzero is so nice because you don't have to sell back to them. You can hook up your power delivery as a load, how it would normally wire up to an off-grid inverter. Then you have power going into this from the grid, so it feeds in from the grid when the inverter or the batteries aren't charged enough. And this is totally customizable. To 42 volts is the minimum, and the maximum is like 64. I could be wrong. You have to read your instruction before you go buy it. The maximum sells them. No, technically you don't sell nothing to them. Technically, you buy power, it comes in, and then it goes back out to your loads. And your loads will be attached, which mine is attached on the sub panel and the Bitcoin miners. So the sub panel and the Bitcoin miners, they get their power directly from here. And I could technically hook up my air conditioning system now. The way this thing is designed with Gridzero, I can run my air conditioner, no questions asked, period. I can run it, but I'd have to install a new sub panel and run wire to the sub panel back and forth. Hey, I'd have to run power wire from over there to over here to install a sub panel. My air conditioners are on this side. I can do it, but I don't want to. I don't want to go more than 5 kilowatts of power on my inverter. It's an 8,000 watt inverter. I don't want to go more than 5 kilowatts on this inverter. It's a lot of power. So, 5 kilowatts is good. The Gridzero assists the inverter, so it doesn't charge batteries while it's trying to use the grid. It's actually an inverter system that assists. So Gridzero is really nice about that. So if you're interested in doing something that is seamless and you can just walk away from it and to waste 100% of the power that you make, you can, and you can do it with this inverter. It is awesome. So you got extra power, you want to waste it, you just hook it up and run it. This thing will do it. I'm still 100% satisfied with this inverter. The Magnum, it's 4,400 watts. It's kind of weak. The lights flicker when you turn the washer and dryer on. I'm real dissatisfied with that. And the problem that I got with the Magnum, no matter what you do, it won't assist itself. So you always have to be flipping the switch every day, twice a day. If you want solar, you got to go flip the switch up or down. With this one, you just leave it alone. You don't have to touch it. You don't even have to use Gridzero to let it do it. It'll charge all the way up, then it turns on and discharges all the way down. It'll charge all the way up, and when it turns on, it discharges all the way down. And that way you can get 100% out of your battery that you want, and you can program it to be a certain capacity. You can program it to be a certain voltage. I mean, it's really nice. It's got 3 shunts inside of this pre-wired system that you can use to control it with the flex net. Now I don't have it hooked up. Sorry, I don't have the hub to hook it up. So, you know, my thing is hook it up and run it the way it is. So now you can hear it after it's quietened down. And this is my entire house load with it running without the Bitcoin miners, which I'll turn those back on. Better believe that. So what I like about this thing is it just does the job. It does the job and you don't have to flip switches back and forth. I also got it because I needed more power delivery, right? The Magnum was doing the job. It was a nuisance because lights would flicker. The computers would turn on and off whenever you start the washer and dryer. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. And granted, I mean, you know, my first Magnum blew up right here on the wall. My second Magnum, it's lasted a while and I put fairly good loads on it. I'll send it in, have them repair it and send it back to me, and then I'll move forward. No big deal. So I'm pretty happy with that it's still under warranty. So what would I do if I had a choice for this or a Magnum? I'd definitely go with this one. This one is awesome. This is really awesome. This is the best inverter that I could possibly dream of. And it's efficient. It's more than efficient enough. It runs the whole house. It runs all night long, runs all day long. It don't waste tons of power. And I can measure, I mean, I can watch it on my computer upstairs. I can hook up a bunch of stuff and monitor it externally. I'm not interested in doing all that. All I'm interested in is moving forward with the project. I want to get 2 charge controllers, one here, one here. More than likely classic 250. I'm afraid I'll have to sell my Bitcoin to do this. What little Bitcoin I've earned. And it's gonna go up whenever I sell it. If I do sell it. If it does, you know, damn if you do, damn if you don't. But the reality of this is the Gridzero is awesome. I love it. And in the next video, it's gonna be playing directly after this. I'm going to show you how to turn Gridzero on. That way everybody will know. I'm just going to go through this. That way you guys can see it directly. I appreciate the video for you watching. This is Philip 20 with solar power, electricity, and electronics. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. There's lots more content coming. Click the subscribe button below. Make sure you come back for more because there's great content always coming up every day in this channel. See you next time. Peace.